Alright, this is the second part of my video debate for psychology class. I am rebutting Alyssa's video that she posted, so let's get started. Homework can sometimes penalize intelligence. One student reports failing AP World History while having gotten a 5 on the AP test. She failed because she didn't do the homework, she didn't turn anything into the teacher, but she didn't do the homework because she didn't need to. She got A's on all of the tests, and a 5 on the AP test is a very good score. We're penalizing students with eidetic memories or students who have special interests in education because those students don't need to perform the same amount of homework as their peers in order to be successful. Isn't that time better spent elsewhere? If they already know this material, why aren't we giving them the freedom to learn more, especially if that's what they're passionate about? That student had to retake world history to get the credit she needed to graduate, even though she had scored well over the necessary score to be accepted for college credit. So that's a score that is good enough for most universities in the country to accept that for college credit, but it wasn't good enough for her to get her core 40 diploma from high school. And homework is not necessarily studying. Those two things do not necessarily coincide. Many teachers expect homework and studying to occur separately. Students feel that homework does not align with what they need to study in order to pass exams, but then they're in a position where they must choose between either reviewing what they think they need to know for the test or doing what the teacher wants them to review for the homework. Do you want to lose points on the exam when you didn't have time to study, or do you want to lose points because you didn't do the homework done, get the homework done because you were studying? Why should they have to choose which one when with no homework they would have enough time to review for the exam material at length? And homework often contradicts study advice directly. Study habits and how homework hurts them. These are 8 tips to improve your study habits for last year, 2019. The recommendation is to study in shorter bursts, but when you have large assignments and many at the same due date, students don't have time to stagger them or to take breaks. They have to spend hours at length trying to get everything done. They don't necessarily have time to get enough sleep. If the studies I covered in the last presentation discussed at length how students feel they have lost sleep regarding homework and education to try to pass their classes. If you have a student that's doing more than 2 or 3 hours of homework every single night, they're also trying to work a job and trying to maintain relationships with their family and friends, and they're trying to do extracurricular activities to get into college. All of a sudden, those hours of the day are running out, especially if they're already at school for 7 or 8 hours a day. Teaching others, we all have been in a situation where teachers were penalizing students for trying to teach others because they considered it cheating, and the lines between academic dishonesty and benefiting other students can kind of get blurred, and we need to improve our education on how students can help each other without going into territory of academic dishonesty. Those lines need to be much better defined for students so they know what's appropriate and what isn't. Take advantage of the commute. School buses are not conducive environments to studying or to doing homework or to doing really anything. Anybody who ever rode on a school bus knows that. Make a schedule when you're talking about students like minors. Many don't have the autonomy to compose their own schedules, especially if they're already in school for 7 or 8 hours a day and they have to do after school work, or if they're in extracurricular activities. The time runs out fast. They have to try to figure out where to put things when they can. So do all the example problems. If the teacher has assigned copious homework, who has the time to go back and also review all the example problems? Many parents are concerned. While 58% of parents being satisfied, that's a good figure. Many parents are still concerned about the amount of homework their students are receiving, especially when it means the students are not available for their family. Families are fractured by arguments over homework, particularly in lower class families families. Students with parents who can't help them learn should not be penalized. There are families who don't necessarily have access to education. You have parents who didn't necessarily graduate high school or had to get their GED, or they don't have a college degree, and those parents, they're lost on their children's education a lot sooner than parents who receive bachelor's or master's or doctorates. And when you're expecting parents to help their children with their homework at increasingly young ages, these students are being lost because their parents don't know how to help them. The 10-minute rule doesn't apply when it isn't followed. Many students from schools across the country report their instructors don't respect the 10-minute rule. The 10-minute rule to review is the rule that says you should have 10 minutes of homework, absolute maximum 10 minutes of homework per grade level. So first grade 10 minutes, second grade 20 minutes, all the way up to 12th grade would be a maximum of 120 minutes or 2 hours. High school seniors report 3 to 6 hours of homework on some nights, which is a blatant disregard for the rule. And kindergarten students are reporting up to half an hour of homework every night, when, according to educational professionals, they should not be receiving any homework at all. And until this rule is enforced, students are going to continue to suffer.